Yeah, I wanted to kind of do a follow-up to the drug thing, the big pharma deal. Uh, Basically, I touched on my dead body business background and so forth, but I wanted to tell you all, I started in the dead body business at 14 years old, and I lived in the funeral home at 14 and was poking around on dead bodies at that age. And I do mean poking around on dead bodies at that age, trying to figure out what this death thing was really all about. I used to go in and stare at the dead bodies in the embalming room and just wonder, what's this all about, death. Sometimes you could stare at a dead body long enough you can see them breathing. It's almost like you want them to come back to life. I used to bag so many bodies up and that were decomposed and putrefied and go to those homicide scenes and bag the hands and the arms up, and bodies would pull apart on us because they were so rotten and so putrefied and decomped. And I was young when I did that. Back then, they would let us go onto the scene very, very young. I was doing that at 15 years old, working on the fire truck and the light truck and the ambulance and the dead body car, first call car we called it, first call. Working around the funeral home, I was working at the crematorium, burning bodies, burning babies, all ages, all cultures, all religions, all dogmas, all creeds. I was working at the ME's office, uh, assisting with autopsies at that age, getting to see all of that. And I was interested in it. I was very, very interested in death. Very, very interested in death. And I wanted to see more and more and more and more and more. And boy, did I ever. I climbed in and I was full time. And when I got old enough, I got my emergency medical technician paramedic and was able to work on the MICU, mobile intensive care unit, and do my share of rescues and cardiac arrest and SIDS babies, sudden infant death syndrome. Got to work a lot of those. But I had it, man. I tell you what, I had a full life. I mean, I was right down the street from everything. The ambulance service was down the street from me. The crematorium was across the street from me. The embalming room, funeral home was next door to me. I lived at the funeral home by myself at night and had to close the caskets and make sure the bodies didn't ooze through their nose or through their ears or through their mouth, and clean all that stuff up and get ready for the families to come in the next morning, hoping that something wouldn't ooze out. We stuff your mouth with cotton and stuff your nose with cotton, and we glue your lips together with super glue so they won't open during the funeral. We put iPads in your eyes to keep your eyes closed, eye caps. We take your brain out with a circular saw. If we're at the ME's office, we cut your brain out, and I used to get to take the circular saw and cut the brain out and take it and put the cap back on and glue it back on. It's all crazy, man. It's crazy, crazy. Take that big trocar in the embalming room and stick it in and suck all your guts out. It's really a gross, gross, gross type of situation. But, that's when I lost my feeling for God. That's when I had my epiphany about God. Where is God, And I still go through that a lot. But I do believe in prayer, and I do believe in some entity out there. The rest of it I leave up to all of you. I don't know. All of you seem to have all the answers. Many of you seem to have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. I don't know. I just hope that God knows why all of these things happen, why all of this suffering and pain has to happen. Around the world, there's so much suffering and pain, it's incomprehensible. It's undeniable. It's beyond comprehension, human comprehension, at the suffering and pain that's going on around the world right now. We're going into wars and places we shouldn't be, doing things we shouldn't do. These wars are costing us trillions and trillions of dollars, and we just keep doing it over and over and over again. But yeah, you saw my pharmaceuticals in the last video, and that's keeping me calm and cool even right now. I'd be losing my cool talking about my past if I didn't have these pharmaceuticals in me. I guess the benzodiazepine Klonopin is doing me the best. I got off my Xanax. That was hurting me, I think. I got off Xanax on my own and went on to benzodiazepine called Klonopin, which is a smooth drug. Lasts a lot longer, easier to come off of if you need to withdraw. So, yeah, it's just it's my life, man. I've had a storybook life. I've had a weird life. I've done a lot of things that most people will never even imagine in their wildest dreams. And I guess that's why I'm a talk show host. I guess that's why I'm a writer, an artist, a musician, a singer, a lecturer, speaker, teacher. If you need any advice, give me a call. I've probably been through it, done that, been there, done that, you know. I've had many, many relationships. I've had some good ones. I've had some bad ones. I grew up with a great family, though. Proud of my mom and dad. I love them dearly, and we had a good life growing up. Had a great childhood. It was not until I got a little older that I figured out life is not so great. And now I really see how terrible everything is around the world, especially here in the United States. We have such a corrupt government. We have one of the most corrupt governments in the world. Many of you disagree with that, but it's true. We have one of the most corrupt governments in the world. And you need to understand that. We need a revolution. We need to overthrow this current government. We need to start all over again with education, with health care, with the environment, all of these things that are dear to our hearts. We need to start over again, but we won't. We won't. It'll just get worse and worse and worse as time goes by. And that's because we're so pathetic. We're so lazy. We won't hit the streets like some of these other great countries who get out in the streets in the millions and protest to get what they want. They have these dictators running these countries and people are in the streets. We have dictators running our country, but most of you think that's not true. But it is true. And maybe one day you'll wake up and realize that, and you'll try to figure out a way to get with some other folks and build a group and overthrow the government. Overthrow this current corrupt regime. It is a regime, and it's a very dangerous regime, and it's getting worse and worse by the day. So you all take care. Until tomorrow, I'll be doing another Facebook Live tomorrow. You all take care and keep us in your prayers. And don't forget about those homeless folks we're helping. We could use a few $10 donations to work on that. Bye-bye.